Hey, YouTube, it's Jaden. Um, it's really early in the day, but I've been used to waking up so early because I had to fly out to Boston these last couple days, and then I had to fly back into Philly. My sister's graduation. Mm, sorry. My sister's graduation was a couple days ago, and it's crazy because she's old now. Um, yeah, both my sisters are old now. Like my one sister is like she's genuinely thinking about having a kid. Like that's how I know she's old because she was the one that was like so adamant about like not having a child, but now like she's genuinely thinking about it. So that's how I know like she's old, you know. But my sister that just graduated, she's getting old because she just graduated, right? And she's about to hit the 25 mark once I hit the 20 mark. So that's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Um, so yeah, and it's funny because we went to Boston, even though she lives in Florida. Um, she went to school at a Boston college, but she did it online. Either way, I'm not about to give you like her government story. What is that about? Either way, um, so in Boston, Boston's very mid. If I'm being honest to you, I gotta keep it a stack. There was nothing that really astounded me. I mean, in Boston. Um, although I will say that no, actually no, that's a lie. We went to this art museum that they had this exhibition. Is it called an exhibition? I don't know what it's. They had like this part of the art museum, like this section of the art museum that was you know um about like this Japanese dude, and he made like wood wood paintings. What was it called, like wood stock paintings or whatever? And apparently he made this painting that was so popular that it's even like an emoji now. They said it's called the Great Wave. So it's like the wave emoji, only on like iPhones. So like not like corny Android phones or like Google Pixel phones or whatever. At least I don't think so. But either way, what is his name? Starts with a H. Ho. Hold on. Gotta look it up. Great Wave. Hokusai. Hokusai. Yeah. I think I'm saying it right. Um, Hokusai or Hokusei. So I can't do. I don't know. But either way, I really enjoyed that part because they say that like art, you have to make of it what your brain tells you. You know what I mean? Like how you interpret it is what art is to you. You know what I mean? Um, so like I really thoroughly enjoyed it because the thing is that I'm left brain. So like I kind of just see things and I look at them as they are. But with him, well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really interpret it as anything other than like what they were. But I just kind of liked how what's the word? I liked how uh, like defined his paintings were. They weren't even paintings because a lot of them were just they were drawn. I like how defined and thinly drawn they were. Because it's like you have to be, because he was from like, not again, but he was from like the 1500s or something like that. So you have to be like, I don't know, to be to to do it so thin and so defined. Like that's really it's really impressive. So either way, um, we did that. That was really impressive. Um, but a lot of the food places that we went to, they weren't bad food places. They just weren't like astounding. Like I said, they're very mid. You know, um, except for this one place in as I say in Boston. Obviously, that's what I just said. Um, there's this one place called Tate, like latte, um, And my sister, she's like a real bougie foodie, and like she knows what she's talking about. Like when we eat or whatever, when we eat things that we don't know, like she probably knows what we're eating, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So there was this thing that I ordered, and it's called a shakshuka, and it's I think like the base of it, I could be getting it wrong because it's a North African dish. It's like runny eggs, a base of like tomatoes or something like that, and like I, I don't know, like vegetables, something like that. And you're supposed to dip bread in it. And I got one, and it actually wasn't even tomatoes. The base wasn't like a tomato soup. It was like a cheese sauce, and it was like cheese, mushrooms, and like all this other stuff that I. It was the best dish I've ever had. Like that was the best food I've ever had. So good. Like low key, it was better than hoagies. I'm not even lying. Like hoagies will always be my number one food, but like that was better than hoagies, you know? But like my access to hoagies versus my access to like shakshukas are like completely, it's like 100 to 1, right? So I'm always gonna love hoagies more because I can just pick them up from an Uber Eats. I don't know where I can get a shakshuka, but either way, that's besides the point of the video. The point of the video is, and I say all this stuff to be like Boston is very mid because, like I said, all the food places, and even like with the art thing, right? Like we have an art museum in Philly, right? And we have better food joints in Philly, right? Like Boston is like a watered down version of Philly because it's full of white people. It's full of white people, right? So it's like clearly the food is gonna be watered down. There's gonna be no seasonings. You know what I mean? Except for the shakshuka, apparently. Either way, this isn't the point of the video. The point of the video is I was talking to my stepfather yesterday, and he was talking to me because I was talking about grad school, right? Because we don't talk that often, and I'm about to be a senior, right? Like, well, technically, I am a senior. I'm a senior now. Wow, dang, I should have started. That sucks, but I'm a senior now, right? So, he was saying, "What do you want to do after undergrad or whatever?" I'm paraphrasing. I was like, I want to go to grad school." He was like, "What do you want to do after grad school?" I was like, "I either want to work at NASA or I want to be a professor." And I'm paraphrasing again, but he was like, "I see you more as a professor." And he said that, and it's like, you aren't like the first person that told me that, nor are you the second, or third, or fourth. You know what I mean? Like, it just keeps going. You know what I mean? Like, I sometimes I think it's fate. Sometimes I think that like fate does exist, right? Um, Cause who did I grow up with, right? I grew up with a mother who was a teacher, right? I grew up with a mother who taught. She taught young kids, though, right? She wasn't a professor, but she taught. She still taught. And I think the way that she didn't necessarily teach me. I don't think she didn't teach me anything that like, I don't know, instilled the way that I kind of teach myself, but it still played an impact. It did influence me to an extent, right? Because she taught, right? She had access to like study island, right? And she would make me do study island like all the time. And study island, there was like these two subjects that she'd always make me do, English and math, right? And that's why English and math are like my two best subjects, right? Like Every essay, I would always kill. Never get anything less than like a 94. In math, clearly, you know what I mean? So, hey, I don't flex often. I really don't. Just let me have it. Just let me have it, please. You know what I mean? But because I will tell you, I'm not good at social studies. Had she made me do social studies as well, like, you know, that's why I get a little tight when like I hear people talk about like history and stuff, because it's like I don't know what you're talking about. Like they expect me to know what like they're talking about. It's like I don't know history. I really don't. Um, I genuinely don't. It's not because of Study Island. It's because well, it's because of Study Island, and then it's because I don't listen when I'm in class. But either way, my mom was a teacher, right? My mom says that she would see me as a professor, right? She'd look at things like on Netflix, and she'd be like, "I see you as him," right? And like that dude would be a professor, like on Netflix or like whatever show she's watching. She said that. My father, I told him that I want to work in NASA before, but I said I want to be a professor as like a plan B. He was like, "No, no, you should be a professor, because the way that you help and my brothers, like the way I help my brothers or whatever, you know, like my leadership skills." He says, you know, rather nice, So, um, he's also said that. Um, and then I went to this church in New Jersey as well, right? My home state, New Jersey. And there's this professor who's known to be like a prophet. That's the word I was thinking of. I was like the person who prophesies, a prophet. He's known to be a prophet. And it was the first time I went to his church. And he was like, all the new people, I'm paraphrasing, all the new people who want to, meet up with me, just come to my office so we could dap it up, talk things out, have a one-on-one. I come into his office, right? The first thing he says is, I see 100%, not 100%, I see a lot of your dad in you, right? I'm like, whoa, what does that mean? You know what I mean? He starts talking about my dad like he knows him, even though a lot of what he's saying is right. So we wrap things up on my dad, and then he's like, do you want to be a professor when you grow up? I'm like, I didn't even say anything. How does he know? You know what I mean? So that's number 3, right? My mom, my dad, that pastor. I work at a deli shop, right? I work at a deli shop, and I told my manager that I've tutored before, and I kind of had to like quiet quit these last couple of weeks because clearly I can't work over the summer, because I don't live anywhere near there, and he was okay with that. Like there was no beef, obviously, but he was like, hey, because he was suggesting that like I was never gonna come back again because he thought I wasn't gonna come back again. Oh, but obviously like it's a college job. Like once I come back, like I wasn't gonna tell him that, but like I wanted to see what he's gonna say. But cause like yeah, once I come back to campus, I'm gonna be working there again. But either way, I was like, hey, when you grow up and you become a professor and you start teaching, like you do when you tutor, remember me. That's number 5. Like I said, my stepfather just yesterday says that he sees me more as a professor than he does as like the person working at NASA. It wasn't like a slight at all, but he said something that really made me think about it because he was like, you've obviously I haven't, we've known each other for a while. Like my mom then married him for I don't know how long, but either way, he said, you've been talking about NASA ever since you were, real young. I'm really paraphrasing. I'm just trying to get to the point of the video. You've been talking about NASA since you were real young. And it seems more so like a childlike, not childlike ambition, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like when children want to, like, it's when children say, like, I want to become an astronaut. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, working for NASA is not like, it's like your version of being an astronaut. But it's being astrophysicist, right? Um, it's interesting because it made me think about it, right? When when I always thought about being like when I always thought about working for NASA, I always thought about writing on whiteboards and solving physics problems on whiteboards, on chalkboards, stuff like that. People that work at NASA are on their computers coding most of the time. Physicists are using Fortran and coding and what's the other one? It's Fortran and what's the other coding languages? Python, right? They're using Fortran and Python to solve their physics problems. I want to use it. I want to solve it by hand and show others how to do such. That's what I thought being an astrophysicist was going to be like at NASA. That's not what they do at NASA. That's what a professor does. You know what I mean? It's almost like I was thinking about being a professor while attaching the word NASA on it. You know what I mean? Like when I made that video, that first video about talking about being an astrophysicist, that was on my mind the whole time. I was just thinking about working at NASA, like just being in a big room, solving a big problem, and then showing others how I did that. That's what a professor does when lecturing. You know what I mean? And it's like it didn't hit me until I was talking to him yesterday. You know? It's like, again, it's not that I don't believe fate doesn't exist. It's like I never really thought that fate was so like in tune, until like stuff like that is like a aha moment, and that's what I live for. I live for those aha moments because those aha moments are like what makes me enjoy learning. It's like when you get it for yourself. I hate when people get the right answers just to get the right answers. When you get the A in the class just to get the A, then you're not thoroughly learning. When you get a B but you understand that 80% that you got the B for, that's it, that's the learning. You know what I mean? And I'm very tedious with how I learn. Like I make it a point to like ingrain it into my mind until I can see a concept where I can apply that same that not the same memory, but that same concept for that application, right? I don't like just memorizing certain things just to see that same thing, just to see like those same like keywords, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I guess I always thought about being a professor, even though when I was talking about NASA, I was really talking about being a physics professor with just saying NASA to sound better, I guess. You know? And because everything I was thinking about is everything that a professor does. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I still have a ways to go about it. Right? I still have to get a PhD if I want to work for either of those jobs. So it's not like it's going to be anytime soon. But talking to him definitely did change my mind about a lot of those, a lot of what I was thinking about. So funny enough, with that being said, I'm actually about to read up on some linear algebra, and I gotta, what's it called? I gotta do some more real analysis because that was the one final that I struggled with the most. So, yeah. I gotta go. So, wow, this is 20 minutes long. And that's another thing. I talk a lot. And professors lecture. So, you see what I mean? Alright, yeah. Alright, I gotta go. See.